Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, make sure you do hit the bell whilst you're at it so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat and also in the description below. Chat with other traders, including myself, join discussions, look at different trading opportunities. And of course, you can find out a bit more about Elevating Traders, the firm, as well. So make sure you go check that out. Discount code in the Discord as well. So don't miss out on that as well. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is well. Good morning. Good morning. Manzondi, what is up? Dr. Sean, what is up? Okay, long position after EU. Yeah, we did see a bit of a bounce, didn't we? TP 30 minutes ago. Nice. Yeah, we did see a bit of a bounce after that. But yeah, crazy move in the markets yesterday. Crazy move. A lot of movement yesterday. I mean, a lot of movement this morning as well with the yen pairs. We'll definitely get into all of that lovely stuff in a moment. So don't worry about that. But yeah, USD yen moving a lot. And we've still got Bank of England in about a couple of hours, which we'll stay at the end of the stream for and see what happens with that. But yeah, a lot of movement regarding certain markets, and we'll go through them. We'll start with the USD pairs and work our way through. Excuse me. S&P, is my mic the correct mic? There we go. Not like yesterday. Manzondi, what's up? I hope it's, yeah, everybody said hello. Okay, yeah, I know S&P was a huge move. I'm guessing you were short in that one. Ross Devil, what's up? Dollar yen to 160, looks like it. Yen pairs are looking very, very bullish at the moment. Tony Gold, what is up? Hope you're doing good, my man. So yeah, we'll go through the USD pairs first. We'll chat about that. Of course, we'll get to the yen pairs shortly after. Any other recommendations, just drop it down in the chat and we shall discuss. But as always, we'll start with the dollar. So very, very bullish for USD. Very, very bullish. We were talking about some upside yesterday because price did break through some resistance here at 106,600. So at that point, the bearish structure we had over here has failed. Yeah, we double bottomed out, broke structure to the upside. And after that, we're looking for price to hold support and continue higher. We actually got that very well after the news there. Really aggressive move to the upside. I said expecting a pushback to this area where potentially we might start to see some downside. Haven't really seen any evidence of that happening just yet. Of course, we're looking a tad bearish right now, but I wouldn't say that, okay, I'm expecting the market's completely drop on its head. It could do, but not really seeing sufficient rejection that tells me price is about to turn. This easily could just be a bit of a correction for price to have a bit of a breather because it was a pretty big move yesterday. So rightly so. And then we might just continue in this uptrend. So I'm definitely not going to be looking to try and say, okay, I'm expecting the market to plummet now. It could do. It's in an area where we might see some downside, but it's definitely looking very bullish. I wouldn't be too surprised if we just sustain this. Like I said, if I see a bit of a correction and a continuation, over the course of today and tomorrow, I think at that point, we probably will get the weekly candle closure I've been speaking about, which is going to be breaking through that resistance. At that point, I would be pretty bullish on the dollar. And at that point, I don't see any reason why we can't push back to 113, 114, which could mean a very bullish dollar for 2025. Hopefully some nice trending conditions as well, because we haven't really been blessed with that over the past kind of year and a half. Really a lot of consolidation back and forth. Hopefully we can see some momentum like we saw in 2022, and that hopefully will come off the back of a breakout of 107, which again, I'll wait to see how the weekly candle closes. Maybe we do pull back and leave a big wick. We did that not long ago over here. Price was looking pretty bullish midweek and we did pull back. So if we do see this momentum sustain, especially show some signs of continuation on the lower chart, then yeah, I do think 113, 114 could be the longer term target, of course. But a good trend could look to follow and we could have a pretty big breakout. So it does look like USD strength is here to stay and we could see a lot more of that. So going to Euro USD, of course, we did the opposite of that. We had a very big break of that support level yesterday. I said I wasn't such a big fan of this level because it is quite corrective. Won't really see much sign of rejection there. So I was never really happy too long from there. And now the price is back at this area. We've had a bit of reaction, but it's the same situation with the dollar. It looks to me that it might still just be a reaction for potentially price to continue down. And what will kind of make me confirm that bias, whether I'm expecting price to turn around or continue falling, again, is going to be down to that weekly chart, how we do close. Because if we do start breaking through this level, see a stronger close this week, I do think we'll just keep falling. And of course, if USD is going to push back to 113, then Euro USD is going to do the opposite and push back to 0.97. I was about to say 1.7, 0.97 there. So could be seeing really big moves here 2025. Of course, regardless, even if we did bounce from this area, probably see a big move back to the high, but that doesn't look as likely anymore, especially after such a big news event. These news events do tend to set trends, and it looks like we could be seeing a bit of a bearish one. But yeah, we've come back into support. Markets reacted with that. I wouldn't be looking to take any buys here unless you're looking for the short term. If you're looking for a longer term reversal, I think it's tad aggressive. If price is going to reverse, and if this is kind of like a big anticlimactic sell-off and price is going to push up, I'll wait for evidence of that happening first and then try and find some pullback somewhere. Because if price is not going to continue selling off, we're going to see a pretty big reversal here. And I don't need to be the first person into the market. I can definitely look for some pullback shortly after. And if that's the case, you're probably going to see a pretty big move to the upside. So, if this is price still getting ready to turn around, we'll see signs of that. At the moment, not quite likely. So I do think probably we'll see Euro USD continue falling at some point, maybe a bit of a correction, but I do think we probably see price continue falling. In terms of pound USD, similar situation over here as well. Strong move to the downside, although pretty strong push back up again. Again, not really giving me much confidence that price is about to push on. We broke through the lows here not long ago, and then we broke through, broke through the lows again yesterday. So price is not really showing signs of continuation. We should be putting higher lows in, not lower lows in, if we were going to see some upside. Then we did end up respecting this area here yesterday as well. Nice little head and shoulder pattern. You got the left head and the right shoulder, which we mentioned yesterday. And yes, we have seen a pretty strong bullish candle here on the 4-hour chart. I'm not quite convinced that this is going to start taking price to the upside. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, but I still think we'll probably top out somewhere and probably work our way back down into these lows. I still don't mind the double bottom down here. I'll revisit that, see how everything's looking, see how dollar's looking, if that is still an opportunity which I want to get involved with. But I do think for pound USD, we're probably going to continue lower as well, putting in some nice lower highs, breaking through structure a couple times as well, putting in the lower lows too. So although very strong close this morning, you might see a bit more upside, but I do think we'll probably end up selling off. So if you're in the lower time frames, for pound USD, I'll be looking at some shorts. Let me drop to the hourly chart. Maybe as we approach this area, nice consolidation just before the news. Could end up seeing price tap into that and then maybe a nice continuation afterwards. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound USD after the news. If you take a look at dollar CAD flew. Very, very bullish for this one. Having a bit of a correction now, but I think that's just needed anyway, just because of how bullish the market has been. We go to the weekly chart. We've seen a push all the way to 1.447. It's been crazy, I'm not going to lie. After price has broken through this level, it just really hasn't looked back since. And looks like we are going to push back to the high. I had this target, 1.46, as something we might hit kind of mid next year, maybe. I was thinking, okay, be a nice target to work to, longer term target on the weekly chart, major resistance. Now that we've broken through this level, it's probably going to take a while, see some pullbacks. Dollar CAD is not necessarily a pair that trends very well either. So I thought it was going to take a while for us to get there, but we're already about 75% of the way there. So yeah, pullbacks in dollar CAD look very, very good at this point. I still do like my level down here, but I'm not too sure if I'll see price come back and retest that now. 1.415 looks like a great level for a buy. If I whip out the old fib from the low to the high, you can see we line up very well with that 0.618, and that would be a very kind retracement should dollar CAD get there. It would be a pretty big move for us to get there in the first place, but nice place for a long solid level, nice confluence there as well, and probably would just take us back to the high there too. But yeah, overall very bullish for dollar CAD as well. I think we might just be seeing a bit of retracement for the USD pairs, but I think it's just retracement for price to continue rising for dollar CAD. If I go over to Aussie dollar, this one was exceptionally bearish as well. I think Aussie just been naturally pretty weak, and then piled on the pressure from USD, it just was a recipe of disaster here. So it looks like we're coming back into the lows here, more or less. So again, if you're on the lower time frames, I'll probably be looking at some shorts for this one. If you can see some upside, maybe come back and retest this area here, brief area of support. Probably see it better on the lower time frames before we absolutely trucked to the downside. So again, probably expecting a bit of a correction. Market's still very overextended to the downside. So I think pullbacks are still pretty likely, but we probably are going to continue back to support. I think, are we at the COVID lows? Nope, we're not at the COVID lows. So potentially still got a long way to go for Aussie dollar as well. COVID lows will be down here. No, is that COVID lows? Yeah, COVID lows, 0.575 at major support. So we might have a bit of a bounce first, but if USD is going to be strong all the way back to 113, 114, as we mentioned, then you're probably going to see Aussie dollar have a big push back to the low here. If Euro is going to push back to 0.97, probably going to see Aussie dollar make a move there as well. So maybe a bit of a bounce. And then the follow through, there is some really strong support there in the weekly chart, which could come back for a retest. But yeah, very, very bearish, I must say. Very, very bearish. So bit of corrections and more downside is pretty likely in my book. If we take a look at New Zealand dollar, same situation here as well. Really nice drop to the downside. I think we broke through some key structure. Have we hit 0.55 yet? No, not quite. So that is that COVID lows? No, that's the Russia-Ukraine low. COVID low is pretty much the same area, just below. So yeah, that's probably where we're heading towards for New Zealand dollar. Now that we've completely obliterated this level of support, that's the next key level. So any upside I would see on New Zealand dollar, I'll guess it's going to form a lower high for price to continue falling. So yeah, very, very bearish for New Zealand dollar as well. In terms of opportunities, brief area of support over here on the 4-hour chart, drop to the hourly. Again, very brief, but that's the only bit of structure you can really work with. I mean, unless you're in the lower charts, there's probably something here as well. If I drop to the 15, yeah, slight support there. A bit of consolidation, strong drop to the downside. So I could see the price, potentially sell off from here. But those are some nice areas up there too. It's just whether we'll pull back that far. Excuse me. But overall, very bearish for New Zealand dollar as well. And if you get to gold and silver, those boys had some fun as well. Really strong drop to the downside, breaking through the lows here. It looks like a pretty quick recovery though. But yeah, daily chart looking very bearish to me too. So I think at that point, gold's got a pretty good chance of pushing back to the low here. Very aggressive double top. We did not hold 26.20 as support at all. So again, for gold, we're probably going to see some continuations. I think this is a nice area to look at for pullbacks into, especially if you're working on the lower time frames, hourly chart and below. Probably get some nice opportunities off the back of that and ride that momentum to the downside. But after that daily candle closure, after clearing that support, I do think we'll probably see more downside for gold. And if you take a look at silver, its partner in crime, similar situation with this one as well. Strong drop to the downside. We had such a very bearish candle close last week, so was indicating to us that downside is pretty likely this week anyway. And yeah, now that we're seeing that momentum really come through, there's a good chance we could push back to that low. Again, overall, I'm still very bullish on gold and silver longer term, but it's going to be a bit more difficult now for gold and silver to keep pushing up if USD is going to be strong. Of course, fundamentally and geopolitics can definitely put that out the window. Just because USD is strong doesn't mean gold and silver can be strong as well. We've seen that happen many times. But it just means gold and silver have to be a little bit stronger for them to really get going. But yeah, silver for me, maybe a bit more downside, but again, naturally still expecting pushback to highs, but very bearish on the low time frames. Have to wait for this to relax, start putting some bullish structure in. At this point in time, might still see some more downside. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD markets. I am not going to lie. Everything is looking very bullish for dollar. I think this is the real deal. It'd be nice to get some more corrections and then continuations to really confirm things in terms of breaking through this high properly. So that would be really the cherry on the cake, something like that. And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more strength for USD in the coming days, weeks, and months. But guys, welcome to the stream. Who haven't I said hello to? CS Integrated, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Roadway, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. The difference between Nasdaq and US 30 was confusing. Falling hard, Nasdaq taking its time. Yeah, I mean the of course the indices they are very correlated, positively correlated. So they do the same thing 90% of the time, but sometimes they are out of sync. I've noticed a bit more of that recently. I've seen a few times where NAS is very strong and US 30 is actually pretty weak. But 90% of the time they do positively correlate very well. So yeah, again, and that's the terms of correlation. It's not 100% and it does come and go. You can see that happen many times with gold and the dollar. They're supposed to be negatively correlated, but sometimes they're positively. So correlation it's not a 1 + 1 = 2 situation. It does come and go. Sometimes the correlation is very strong. Sometimes it's pretty weak. But yeah, in general, they are, of course, supposed to go together. Morning, Ahmed. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Ben, what is up? No Santa Claus rally this year, after all. I do think we're going to get some upside, to be fair. Maybe not so much now, because you just had the big news events. So, of course, we're going to go to a slightly less volatile market now. But I think we've had some decent momentum, especially with the yen. Yen's been crazy. We'll go through that in a moment. But yeah, a lot of movement. Of course, the indices plummeting out the sky. Gordon, good day. What's up? Hope you're doing good. Bless it. It's called you blessing there. Holy One, what's up? Blessings right back at you, my man. Hope you're doing good. Ahmed, Yempes, crazy bullish. Most definitely very, very bullish. Ben, would you not see the move to the gold as a fake out? No. It could be, again, we're not fortune tellers here, so I wouldn't say no, as in it's not a fake out. It's just that's how I perceive it to be. I know because we had such a strong impulse and then the market kind of recovered pretty quickly. So it has the characteristic of a potential fake out. But I also keep an eye out on candle closures of the higher time frames. If this was just a big wick, then I would be more so expecting it to be a fake out. But because the market had such a comfortable, strong daily candle close there on the daily chart, it kind of tells me that the momentum for the day is actually the real deal. And the only way I would say it's a fake out is if the following day, so today's candle, was to close comfortably back above this area. So if we were to see this candle push right back above like that, I'll say, okay, that's a fake out. And then I'll be looking for continuations the following day after that. But yeah, it has the characteristics of a fake out in terms of a strong move down and a strong move back up. But I do tend to keep an eye on the higher time frame as well. If it left behind a big wick, that's a really nice sign that's a fake out. If it closes aggressively, then I'm less inclined to expect it to be a fake out unless the following day does close back above. So it'll be interesting to see what today's candle does bring us. Whether we do close back above, then yeah, I'm on board with the fake out. But if we kind of reject it a little bit today or leave a bit of a wick, or this bullish momentum doesn't sustain, then I think we're probably going to come back to the lows. But of course, it's a possibility. We're not fortune tellers here. I think recovery continues to chop. Yeah, possibly that could be the case. Like I said, if today's candle does close above aggressively as well, then yeah, I would definitely agree it's a fake out. But we'll find out today whether that's the case or not. Yeah, it could definitely be the case. I'm still very bullish on gold, to be honest. So I do think back to highs is where price is likely going to end up, but we might go through a bigger correction first. How big that correction will be, I don't know. Maybe push back to 2,400 before pushing up, or maybe price is ready to rip. We'll have to find out as things goes along. But we'll see how the daily candle does close. But I'll go through some indices because, of course, we've had some big moves on the indices. It's only right to chat about them. Dollar yen, okay, we'll take a look as well. Okay, no problem, Ben. Xmas shopping, no worries. Are you streaming any days next week? Yeah, I'll be streaming Monday. Should be streaming Tuesday. I'll confirm that, but I should be streaming Tuesday as well. And then maybe Thursday, but definitely Friday. Definitely Monday and Friday, maybe Tuesday and Thursday. I need to see. Okay, see you. Take care. Have a fun one Christmas shopping, if you can possibly do that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for gold and silver and just USD in general. We'll quickly chat about the indices. So, yeah, US 30, excuse me, fell out the sky today or yesterday. We were discussing some buying opportunities with this one, and price had absolutely none of that. Very strong moves to the downside and completely breaking through structure. It's actually been a lovely bearish move. I think we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 consecutive bearish candles. When's the last time you saw anything like that? Maybe somewhere here, but yeah, long time ago. But yeah, price did not hold that area. I was talking about this area as a nice place for a buy, but we didn't really see price show much respect on that second test. I said there could be a nice little double bottom there, but there was absolutely no sign of that with that candle, of course. And that's one of the benefits of waiting for candlestick entries, is that you can sometimes avoid that stuff happening. What is that? Why is that blue? I have no idea. I have no idea what just happened there, but it seems to have gone. Or, nope, it's there. Let me go to a different market. No idea what that is. Anyway, back to the task at hand. So yeah, we have gone and broken through structure now. So with that being the situation, I do think we can see more downside now for US 30. I said as long as we stay above this low, I do think the trend's naturally going to continue. I'm always expecting that with US 30. As long as structure is being obeyed, I'm always expecting price to get back to the high until it doesn't. And we have broken through the low now. So with that in play, I do think we'll probably see a bit of a correction and some more downside. That's a really nice break of structure. Doesn't really give me fake out vibes there. So I'm expecting price to pull back and then continue lower. And I think the most logical place for some shorts probably would be this area here where all that momentum started. That would be a nice place for price to pull back into, retest, and then continue. Possibly the retest of the low here, but the breakout's not big enough. I need price to kind of pull a little bit further away before I look for a retest of that low. But I would look for some downside. This is kind of the condition where I would look for shorts on US 30. Of course, a market that does tend to trend up, 90% of the time. So, you need to be careful with the shorts because they're difficult to come by and hold on to as well. But now that we have taken up some key lows, I do think the shorts do look really good now. So yeah, expecting some downside for US 30. If anything, it's actually a nice time for a buy, coming back into some structure on the left here. I did chat about this area for a retest. We never quite got it. We're actually getting the retest now. So it's not a bad place for a buy, but because structure is broken, I do think we'll probably continue pushing lower and put a lower high in somewhere. So that's kind of my outlook there for US 30. In terms of NAS 100, this one, strong drop to the downside, not as strong as US 30, but a really strong move. Actually, did it come back to this area? Let me check. Looks like it just about did. Yeah, just about did. So yeah, nice retest of that level. I wasn't actually expecting that yesterday. I said this is still a great area to buy from, but because we pulled so far away, we might not see that correction. But price just about got there. Looks like it kind of just about tagged the 0.618 as well. And we're having a nice reaction. So in terms of NAS is actually still giving me bullish structure. So in terms of following the market, I would still be looking for buys for NAS and looking for price to come back to the high. Maybe with context and the situation, with such a big drop there, you might not be looking to take it all the way back to the high. Yeah, because you can see the situation is a bit different. It's not like a usual correction, which we've seen previously. Things are a little bit different there with that big impulse. Last time we had some moves like that, kind of did start a bit of a bearish trend there. It's not like a normal correction like this, where it's a bit more corrective and we take our time, or one like this per se, which did have some momentum, but it became pretty corrective. So I wouldn't be surprised if this candle there is starting potentially a sell-off. But for now, it's still respecting structure. So I think 21K is still a nice place for a buy. If you were to come back for a bit of a double bottom, I do think that would be a nice place for a buy and take it back to the high there, 22K. But surely probably looking to lock in some gains along the way. So some of these areas looking to at least trail stops or take some partials. That's up to you how you want to manage things. But I think even this area here is an awful line. Even this area there, I would say, is a nice level to lock in some gains. But yeah, for NAS, still respecting structure, so naturally still expecting upside. But yeah, because of that candle, it's not your usual retracement. So it might not be your usual continuation. It might be price doing something like this to maybe do something like that. So watch out. But yeah, still a nice place for a buy, and I'll still be expecting a bounce there. In terms of S&P 500, again, really big move to the downside. This one's still just about holding it onto structure. This was the swing low, which of course gave us the push to the swing high over there. So overall, the market is still bullish for S&P, and again, naturally still expecting a bounce. But again, taking things into consideration, not your normal pullback. It's not like price steadily moved to the downside for us there. Something like this, nice and corrective. Something like this, very nice and corrective. It's a different type of move. So again, it might be a situation where we respect the lows for now, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we do push up. Oh, I don't know what happened there. If we do push up, put a lower high in somewhere, and then make a push to the downside. So I would do things to counteract against that, like partials along the way or trading stops. But I think yes, price could of course respect structure and continue back to the high. But I think because of how we just had that move, the situation is a little bit different. And in trading, you have to think on your feet, sometimes as well. It's not your normal pullback, this move. So yeah, still looking for a bounce. I think US 30, NAS, and S&P are all due a bounce after yesterday's move. But it might be a situation where they put some lower highs in to come lower, especially for US 30 with the break of structure. So yeah, that's kind of my look on the major indices. Short to gold twice this week. It's actually bullish on the weekly. Yeah, I mean, that's just consideration to the higher time frames. Because again, there's nothing wrong with necessarily shorting a bullish market. But you have to understand that, okay, you're shorting a bullish market, so don't treat it like a bearish market. You might still see a nice sell opportunity for the day, for the session. But if the longer term trend is still up and still showing bullish behavior, means you still can get away from shorting. The market doesn't just move in one line. It will have pullbacks, have retracements, so you can take advantage of that. But just don't overstay your welcome. That's the important thing. If you're going to short a bullish market, be prepared to close out early, because if the trend does continue, it's not going to be in your favor. Where was I? Cease integrated DXY can only see max upside to 109 overall. Okay, for now, just buy and sell euro pounds. Short buys, 50-minute time frame. Okay, yeah, I would agree. I think we can see a bigger push to 113. That's my outlook so far. If we do get a proper breakout, which not really confirmed yet, but we'll see by the end of the week. I do think we can see a lot more upside for USD. But I think, yeah, definitely if you look at the lower time frames, pullbacks and more downside for those USD majors look the best bet. And of course, buys for like USD CAD, and even USDC Chef for that matter. I'm not the biggest fan of USDC Chef, but if dollar is going to be strong, then it's probably going to move to the upside. Yes, they had a lot of good trades. Nice. I know. I mean, it will go for people and it'll go against people. the moves yesterday. Good, I got Naz with 0 loss. That was a tank and a half. Yeah, 100% holy one. Not the best day to be stubborn yesterday. Got out extremely late. Yeah, I mean, at least you got out of that one. To be fair, and that's the thing with the Fed interest rate. It can give you some big moves. The interest rate is not always like this. I'm pretty sure the last interest rate we had with USD, we didn't see as big a move like this on the indices. Yeah, we didn't see as move big like this. So it's always difficult um, to trade the news, especially on the lower time frames, because sometimes, every probably 3 out of 4 interest rates is probably going to be relatively calm. Still be a lot of movement, but nothing too crazy. Then, if you're trading the indices on a day like this, and if you're long, yeah, it's not gonna be a good day. So, it's always something to be cautious about. My mind said you're on, so close tiny profits, and then 10K. Mind had your back there. What's up, more? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. What is up? What is up? Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we'll go through some yen pairs. I have closed out my CAD yen position. I did say I will potentially close out early if things are not looking good. And yeah, after today's candle, things are definitely not looking good. So I have closed the position. I closed it on the 4 hour candle close there, but I did secure 50% when we did break the low there. I closed the other 50 remaining at that candle close. But yeah, this doesn't look like a pullback to me. I can tell you that with a bit more confidence anyway. Of course, nothing is for sure. But my thinking is if yen is still going to be weak, which not looking like it is going to be, I mean, the yen pairs, if the yen pairs are still going to be weak, then I'll look for opportunities to get in. A lot of the yen pairs had big moves to the upside. So it means that there could be some fresh sells later on, although I'm not actively looking for any just yet. And I'll go through them and share my ideas on them. But yeah, I have closed the CAD yen position because it didn't look like we're going to get the continuation of that stage. If CAD yen does get ready for a sell, then it would be at this area. If it does go and break through that, then it's a situation we're probably going to come back to the high there, and that's a whole different ball game. So CAD yen has met the sword. I've closed that position there. But yeah, the yen pairs have been very, very bullish. Of course, we had the Bank of Japan this morning, and that has caused some very has made the yen very, very weak. And of course, all the yen pairs have shot to the moon, CAD yen included. So yeah, things are looking very bullish. Like I said, my outlook now with CAD yen is to see what we do at 109, which is this level here, retesting that support term resistance. If price was to go and break through that, then I just expect CAD yen to make our way back to the high there. But equally so, I think if we do see a bit of downside for CAD yen, it probably will actually open up the door to some nice longs. If not on the retest of the high, maybe back down at some of these areas for a buy to push back up, because we're now printing some nice high lows, 1, 2, and potentially a third one there as well. So I think from a lower time frame perspective, if you're looking at the hourly chart, could be some nice longs with this one. Let me just clean up the chart a second. There we go. So I think there could be some nice longs with this one after that continuation. Definitely back down here. Maybe not the high. I think maybe price has to break a little bit higher for the retest of that. But definitely if we were to get a bigger corrective pullback to that area, I think that's a reasonable place to expect another higher low to form. So yeah, CAD yen looking very, very bullish. Maybe we do see some downside from 109.4. I'll keep a lookout for it. But that is a one hell of a candle there to the upside, looking very, very bullish. So I have to be very careful with that. And I wouldn't be surprised if we keep pushing. Like I said, if we do break through 109.4, then I'm expecting 111.5 at that rate. If you take a look at some other yen pairs, someone requested dollar yen. Dollar yen looking very, very bullish because not only did we see dollar be strong, we also saw yen be weak. So that's just a recipe for upside like nothing else. And of course, we had a beautiful candle this morning and it broke through this high as well. So at this point, as I said on the weekly analysis, if dollar yen was to push the upside and break the high here, I am actually scrapping the bearish bias that I've had. And I'm definitely very, very bullish now on dollar yen. I would be looking for a push back to 164. Is it 164 or is it? No, sorry, 161.9. So looking for a push back to 161.9. This is confirmed to me a higher low because we have pinched the high. And yeah, I do think we'll probably see some pullbacks and continuations back to 161.9. So I'm scrapping the bearish bias with dollar yen. Even so, if I drop to the weekly chart, we've had a successful break and retest of this zone here as well. I was looking for a price to get back underneath this. With this candle closure, a successful break and retest. At that point, we're probably going to push back to the high. So, yeah, I would say I'm definitely bullish on dollar yen longer term as well, back to 161.9. I'm not going to be looking for any sells anymore, and only considering buy opportunities, at least for a swing anyway. There might be some short-term sells, but I wouldn't be interested in holding that for too long. And I do think we'll probably move back to 161.9 at this rate. So I don't really have an opportunity I'm looking at just yet. Maybe the consolidation here for a retest, but it depends how much we take out that high, because we could still keep pumping. Wouldn't be surprised if we do. Then I might start to consider the high there. But for now, this would be the only sensible place for a long in my book. And yeah, I do think we'll see more upside. So it's tricky because we're at resistance now, so it's not the best time to buy unless you're already in the buy, of course. If not, you're kind of waiting for price to see a bit of downside, and back to 154.5 would be a reasonable area for some longs. Nice consolidation. That's what all the momentum came from yesterday. So it's only right for us to have another bullish reaction should we get there again. But yeah, this is the longer term move, which looks pretty likely at this point. Exactly. Exactly. It was rubbing its hands together, watching us get ready for some sales. But yeah, that is really just price looking to change the whole bias. Because again, with trading, you're going to have a bias in the market. You look to trade that bias, but you need to have things in place where you say, okay, the bias is not playing out, and I need to switch the bias or just become neutral. In this case, for me to become bullish, I said it was if price takes out that high there. It's gone and done that. So now I am bullish. So yeah, looking for pullbacks now with dollar yen. At this point, I do think we'll see a push back to the high. So yeah, very, very bullish stuff with dollar yen. If you go take a look at pound yen, this one looking very bullish as well. I'll go chat about the not the DXY, the Japanese basket as well, to see what's happening with that one, because I'm pretty sure we had a big move down, breaking through some key lows there as well. But it looks like pound yen is on its way back to the high, which is 200 or just below 200. Yeah, just below 200, 199.777. So in this case with pound yen as well, I wouldn't be so confident that we're pushing back to the high there just yet. It still needs to go and take out this high first. So exactly what dollar yen did. Dollar yen took out the major daily swing high. If pound yen goes and does that as well, then I'll be on board with pound yen too, expecting a push back to 207.812. So I need that to happen with pound yen. And if it does happen, yes, looking for pullbacks and more upside there as well. I mean, because dollar yen did it, it kind of leads me to expect pound yen to do it as well. But yeah, very, very bullish stuff with pound yen. I think even the lower time frames, a retest of this area would be a nice buy. But again, would we get there for a retest? I don't think we will. I think the market's just a little bit too bullish to come back and retest that level all the way down there. So it might see a bit of a correction. Maybe on like the 15-minute chart, there might be a nice little level here to look at. And then you just kind of continue to the upside from there. That looks like the more realistic opportunity. But yeah, very, very bullish on pound yen as well. Pullbacks, upsides, at least back to the high. And if we take out the high, then I'll be looking for a push to 207.812, just like dollar yen. In terms of, excuse me, in terms of euro yen, voice bit croaky today, which is always great. So in terms of euro yen, this was looking pretty bullish. I'm not quite as sold with euro yen in terms of the buys. Not really looking to actively sell it either. I'm kind of a bit more neutral. When I have a bias on the pair, I would have a bias and of course put things in place that would make me neutral or bullish. In this case, for me to be bullish, I need it to be taken out this high here. Then I'll look for the next pullback, and of course, we're still a long way away from taking that high out. So I'm not looking to buy euro yen, and probably not for a while. Pound yen not too far away from taking up that high. So I can see some buys coming up soon for pound. Of course, dollar yen, we've taken out the high. So I'm kind of getting ready for the buys on a pullback. But euro yen, still quite far away. So just going to see how this one unfolds. Lower time frame looking really bullish. This is definitely not looking like a pullback right now. So I would say on the lower time frames, buys look good intra-week, intraday, some corrections as follows, and then expecting some upside, maybe retesting the high there, maybe even retesting this structure here. I think both areas look good for some buys, and maybe ride it back to the high up there, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, in terms of the intraday, intra-week momentum, it's definitely bullish. We were speaking about some buys yesterday with euro yen and pound yen especially. We had this kind of bullish channel here. Drop back to the hourly chart. I said a nice retest of this level looks good. I kind of broke through it, but more or less came back into the area. Bit of a fake out, but price did hold that higher low, and we shot to the moon. So I do think we'll probably see more of the same now regarding euro yen. And yeah, I think the opportunities look good intraday. So like maybe 30-minute chart for some entries. Maybe hourly is probably not even best in terms of the risk reward. But yeah, euro yen probably going to see some more upside regarding this one as well. Overall, looking very, very bullish, I must say. Holy One, Aussie New Zealand dollar blew out the water last night. Huge candle. Rubbish pair. Yeah, not that liquid, of course. Yeah, it's one of my least favorite pairs and least traded pairs as well, Aussie New Zealand dollar, for that reason. But yeah, we did get some big moves yesterday, didn't we? Oh yeah, if it was yen, if it's yen, just times it by 2 or 3. That's the yen for you. Not a lot of pips in Aussie New Zealand dollar, but you know, Fed interest rate does not mess around. What's up, Regina? Hope you're doing good. Good morning, Eric. Pound Aussie. Okay, I'll take a look at pound Aussie as well. Pound USD. Yes, we'll take a look. Yes, pound interest rate is coming soon. We'll stick around at the end of the stream to observe, see how that does get going. I do actually have a pound position on at the moment. I'm currently trading pound CHF, so that news event is going to directly impact this trade. So that'll be fun. Let's see what happens with that. But yeah, we'll stick around to the end of the stream to see what is going on with that. But I'll go through pound Aussie and pound USD for you. Then I'll go back to finish off the yen pairs. So yeah, with pound Aussie, more upsides today or yesterday, I should say, more upside. A lot of bullish momentum, really just taking out those highs. Again, just looking for pullbacks in this situation because we've taken out some major highs. So you don't know how bullish price will be or how long for. There is some major resistance on the weekly chart, which maybe price is working its way towards, which is back at the resistance here. Someone pointed out yesterday. If I drag this across, so potentially we're working our way back to that area, but even if we are, we could still go for a pretty prolonged pullback first before that happens. We do have some nice higher lows here. Who's to say we can't put another one in before continuing? So we don't necessarily know how long this bullish move will last. All I can say, though, is that the market is still definitely bullish and it's still looking healthy. Therefore, if you look for corrections, there's still a good chance a higher low does form and we still keep trying to push to the upside. So I think that still looks like a nice opportunity. I do like the retest of the high. I'm not too sure. Is it 50? Is it hit the 50 on the fib? Okay, 50 just below it. So we might just go and tag the 50 before pushing. So if you can get nice correction like this, maybe just drop through the level, tag the 50 as well. That could end up being a nice little trade there. But yeah, pound Aussie, I would be looking at more upside, kind of just focusing on trading that momentum. If we do see a bigger pullback and price does break structure, and like I said, maybe we do get that big correction as I suggested on the daily chart before then pushing to the upside. So kind of just looking to take advantage of the current momentum. If the current momentum does fade away and we see a bigger pullback, then we'll wait for the bigger pullback to happen and there'll be some bigger buys later on. But for now, I think if you're looking at the hourly chart and below, kind of looking just to keep buying. as that momentum does continue pushing. So yeah, pretty bullish on pound Aussie, and there's probably a good chance that we do push to 2.05. But yeah, I want to see some pullbacks beforehand. Okay, so we'll take a look at pound USD as well. It's not over yet, of course, not CS integrated. The market is not done with us just yet. We do have pound interest rates at 12. So yeah, we'll stick around, see what happens with that event as well. Eric, okay, all CHF pairs are going down. I like that mentality, my friend. I'm pretty bullish across the board on CHF pairs as well. Bearish across the board on CHF pairs as well. We'll see what happens. Of course, I'm trading pound CHF, so it would be nice if that one was to see some downside. But still holding my area, and I'll go through that trade in detail in a moment. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the CHF pairs and with pound. In terms of pound USD, I do think more downside is likely as well. I think we'll probably see more upside with US dollar. So I'm leaning towards a pretty bullish bias with USD. As I suggested earlier, I'm still kind of waiting for the weekly candle to close. But I do think there's a good chance we'll probably just get a bit of a correction, maybe today and tomorrow. And then we see price kind of continue. And if you do get a nice candle close on the weekly chart, breaking that resistance level, then I'm looking for a push all the way back to 113. Not necessarily that price just has to keep flying. Of course, we could have some pullbacks. But at that point, even if we do have a bigger pullback, I do think high-low form and just keep us pushing. So very, very bullish on USD. If that's the case, like I said, I'll wait for the candle to close on the week before confirming that bias. But it looks like we're on our way to that. And especially from the momentum yesterday, I do think this bearish move here on the dollar is just a correction. So going back to pound, even though we had a bit of a bullish pound this morning, I think it's just a correction for price. We've had this kind of head and shoulder pattern, left, head, right shoulder. Respected some nice resistance yesterday, broke through some lows. We broke through the low there once, broke again twice. So I do think this up move here is just a bit of a pullback. Market's going to form a lower high somewhere, and we're going to see a nice continuation. I suggested earlier in the stream that maybe we might see a retest of that brief consolidation above us before making a move down. So maybe we push up, test that zone, and then see the continuation. But regardless, in terms of direction, I do think pound USD is likely to keep falling. We've got some major support down here. I think that's where we're going to likely push towards, as long as we can keep maintaining this structure. So that's our major high, major low, lower high, and of course that's our lower low. So as long as price doesn't go and break through this swing point, here, I do think a lower high will form and continue down. So yeah, pretty bearish on pound. Do think we'll keep falling. Only looking at this bullish move here is a bit of a pullback for us to keep falling. But yeah, we'll see what pound news has, because that's a separate matter in itself. But in terms of the market structure so far, that's what I'm expecting. Yeah, definitely more. Again, I was expecting a bit of movement because it's like the last big week of the year, before the markets maybe kind of die down. But of course, necessarily how big a move you'll see from a news event is always unknown until you get the numbers, until you see the reactions. That's when you can tell how volatile a market will be. But yeah, it's a big one. It's a big reaction, especially the Bank of Japan. I think that's arguably bigger than the Fed interest rate yesterday, at least the reaction anyway. I'm not expecting the Bank of England to be as big as them two, but we'll see. But yeah, very, very volatile. Very, very volatile. Okay, you're still in the pound seat chair for long, below 13 pips below entry. I thought you closed the trade, Holy well, the pound seat chair. Anyway, I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs, and then I'll go through pound CHF. Funny story yesterday, finished a trade, I was shorting your yen profit. Wake up. Yeah, that is trading for you. That's what you get with holding trades overnight. There's been many a times where I've been floating some healthy profits, and then I wake up and price is completely gone against me. Many times, and quite a few times as well where you're in a bit of a loss and you wake up, you're suddenly in some profit as well. So it goes both ways, but yeah, that's what big events can do because it happens quickly. Normally, if you're in some profit, you can see it slowly come back against you, so it's a bit more manageable. But sometimes you go to bed and you wake up, and it's like someone else has hacked into your MT4 and changed your trades or something. But yeah, that's the markets for you. Anyway, in terms of the rest of the yen pair, so we did pound yen, euro yen, CAD yen, dollar yen. We'll go through Aussie and New Zealand yen. These guys haven't really done too much to necessarily make me bullish. I know we're looking very bullish, at least for today's candle. Very aggressive move to the upside, and yeah, a lot of momentum there for Aussie yen. But again, where I determine my bias is from the daily chart and the weekly chart. So these guys, I'm not necessarily looking for a big buy. It looks like at this point, maybe we're forming another higher low here in comparison to those two prior lows. So I push the upside is looking pretty likely if we see a solid candle close down the daily chart. I'm not necessarily expecting a push back to the higher like with pound yen, like with dollar yen just yet. So yeah, at this point, you probably are going to see a move to the downside because we did see a lot of bearish momentum, especially for New Zealand yen and Aussie yen. But the fact is we have had such an aggressive reaction. This to me looks like some type of double bottom pattern. So at this point, I do think we'll probably continue pushing up. In terms of finding some nice entries to buy, yeah, I would wait for price to break structure first and then look for some continuations after that. So pullbacks, maybe retest the high. It depends how big the breakout is, but yeah, something like that would look good. If I drop to the hourly chart, yeah, so I'd wait for price to break the high and then look for some pullbacks, either retest the high or maybe this area down here. It really depends on the breakout and how aggressive we break out and how far we move as well, as to which area makes the most sense to buy from. But what I can say is that Aussie yen looks very bullish here. So if we take out the high at 98.242, pullbacks afterwards look pretty likely, and at least the push back to the range. We'll see what that has in store. Whether we're still going to respect the range or not, will be the judge of that when price gets there. But yeah, really comfortable range, nice breakouts. I like the retest still, but after this kind of new information and seeing how price is reacting, this to me looks like a very aggressive double bottom pattern. If we go and break the high, which I think is likely, expecting a bit of a correction and price to continue pushing. So yeah, new kind of information here is definitely making me rethink my bias altogether with the yen pairs. And we'll take a look at the yen basket as well before we do get involved with that. But overall, I have to say for Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, and pretty much every other yen pair, which we'll take a look at, is not looking too good. Hey, what's up, Tom? Welcome to the stream. Did you get my message on Discord? Eric, thinking about profit over C1K, which is equivalent to 3 to more on salary here in India. Yeah. I mean that's the good side of trading. You have the ability to make some healthy profits, and they can go a long way. But at the same time, you can lose that too as well. But yeah, trading's not a short-term fix; it's a long-term fix. You're looking at slowly progressing, building that equity curve, which is going to take time. You're not going to do all that in one day. You're going to go through times where you're floating a bit of profit goes against you, and there'll be times where you're floating a bit of loss, and it just misses your stop loss by a small amount of pips and reverses, and it's a really nice winning trade. So it goes both ways, but the key thing is having edge and just focusing on playing that over the long run and letting that do the heavy lifting. But yeah, one of the big challenges of trading is definitely just having the mental fortitude to kind of just battle all the kind of the turbulence of being in profit and then being in loss and then being profit again, being lost. If you're not careful, that can drive you mad. Hacked in your MT5, yeah, of course. That's kind of the vibes you're getting. Let me go to New Zealand yen. Okay, so New Zealand yen, yeah, same characteristic, really strong move to the to the upside, and it does look like things are shifting. This could be the next high low in this situation. So one there, second, potentially the third, and we could be seeing a nice push to the upside off the back of that. And yeah, if price was going to continue down yesterday for the yen pairs, for New Zealand yen in particular, we should have continued after this bearish candle because things were looking very bearish after the Fed interest rate, as Eric mentioned there. I mean, not really aggressive for every yen pair. Some are looking more aggressive than others. New Zealand yen is probably one of the more aggressive movers after the interest rate decision. But the yen pairs were looking pretty bearish, and I thought price was just going to naturally just continue. But yeah, Bank of Japan this morning had something to say about that. And after such an aggressive reaction, it kind of tells me that, okay, we had such a strong move down, but even with that momentum, we just turned on a dime and now we're looking very bullish. So this is an aggressive double bottom, and similar to Aussie yen, if you go and break structure, break the highs there, I do think we're naturally just going to see a bit of a pullback and then just expect price to continue pushing to the upside. Of course, we still do have a lovely range here, which I think will look good for some targets. If you're looking to get into some buys for New Zealand yen, I think a push back to this zone makes for a healthy target. I wouldn't be too surprised if you make our way back to the high as well, 92. So yeah, very bullish stuff, I must say, for New Zealand yen. The candles this morning changes everything really. And that's the thing about trading. You can be bearish, 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 but then something happens and you got to kind of rethink and, okay, maybe not I'm bearish anymore. Maybe I'm bullish. And the information this morning is literally done that for me today. So yeah, I do think yen pairs will probably push a little bit further. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Have I missed the yen pair? Yeah, CHF JPY. I'll take a look at that one as well. Where was I? Enter Euro JPY 3 days ago. Looks good. And when I woke up, I saw hit my stop loss. Damn. Yeah, I mean that's the news for you. That's the news for you. One man's blessing is another one's curse. Something because of course hit someone's stop loss, but it's hit someone take profit. Yeah. As long as you manage your risk, you stay afloat for the long run because news will come and go. Sometimes the news is going to be in your favor, you're laughing, and sometimes it's not in your favor and you're on the verge of crying a little bit. But as long as your risk is managed, whatever happens, you weren't going to lose the account or anything. GJ buys from 194.57 and close at, okay. Tom got onto the JPY bullish bandwagon there. Fair play. Closed at 197.10. 197.10. Okay, somewhere around here. But yeah, yen pairs were very, very bullish. Nice move there. Let me go take a look at CHF JPY. I think I've looked at every yen pair apart from that one. And I'll have a look at the basket as well because that's going to be very, very interesting. So yeah, with CHF JPY, very that candle looks absolutely crazy. Yeah, so very, very bullish. Of course, the daily candle hasn't closed yet. We've still got another 10 hours or so before that candle does close, but it's looking very bullish and likely we're going to keep pushing. And yeah, where we're going to push to is the high there because I was looking for the lower high. I said yesterday we have more so just kind of consolidation here. So I said if we do end up breaking the consolidation to the downside, shorts do look good. I think at that point, very high probability we're going to push back to the low here, which is at 168.5 and probably a lot further. But we didn't get that, of course. Price broke to the upside very aggressively. This does not look like a pullback anymore. The whole idea of the shorts for CHF JPY for me was we've had a lovely impulse to the downside. This is the correction of that for price to continue falling. That didn't happen. It hasn't taken out the highs yet per se, but this is not the characteristic of a pullback. When's the last time you saw a pullback that looked like that? Not many pullbacks look like this. Yeah, in the beginning, yes, corrective. That did have the characteristics of a pullback. But now after this bullish candle, the chances of us seeing a continuation to the downside are very, very slim. So yeah, with CHF JPY with this newfound bullish momentum, we're probably going to keep pushing back to the high here at 177. I think a retest of this zone would be a great place for a buy, really, if we were to see a pullback that big. I'm not too sure if we will. There's a lot of momentum in the market right now, but I think that's a nice place for a buy, just underneath 173. And yeah, probably going to push the high here. And if we take out this high, then yeah, we're probably just going to get pushed back to the high here at 180 for Swiss yen and just continue that move. So very, very bullish stuff, I must say, with CHF JPY as well. All the yen pairs are looking very bullish, and I would expect more upside, really. In terms of the JPY basket, yeah, big move to the downside. Probably going to see a pushback down to the lows here now. Again, this is not really characteristics of a pullback anymore. It was beforehand nice and corrective. We could have seen a move to the upside, but now with that momentum here, you're probably going to see a bit of a correction at some stage and the continuation lower. So if the JPY basket is going to keep pushing down, likely to 61.21, then your best bet is to be looking at the buys for your yen pairs. So pound yen, euro yen, CAD yen, you name it. Likely going to see more upside. So just about picking the better one. But yeah, to me, it looks like we're probably going to see price sell off a little bit here. And if we go and take out that low at 61.21, then probably going to push all the way down to 53.45. So could see a lot more downside off the back of that. But yeah, yen pairs very bullish. I think we're going to see that sustain. USD very bullish. And of course, the USD major is looking very bearish, and I think we're going to see that sustain as well. So yeah, that's kind of my bias with those markets. Going to stay on the side for today's event. I think that's a smart move, CS integrated, because of what we've seen so far. These were profits. Yeah, that's too, managing the profits as well. That's a good way of looking at it. Beautiful quick 3% today, and damn, just $8 shy of passing my phase one account. Wow. $8. That is painful. To be fair, you could just like kind of open a trade and maybe the movement of it will hit the $8. Pound CHF just closed below the red line again. It's been there for 17 hours up and down, accumulating below short view. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it has just been consolidating for me as well. It hasn't been moving that great. I'll go through the trade actually. But yeah, it has been up and down. I haven't actually thought much about that CC integrated, to be honest. I've been mainly focused on the interest rate decision this week. I didn't know we had unemployment today, to be honest. I was just looking at the interest rates for USD, yen, and pound. Wait, where is the unemployment? Wait, today's Thursday, right? Okay, yeah, okay, I see it at 1:30. Um, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, expected to go down. Expected to go down. Maybe it might see a bit more um um a bit more of a correction potentially for USD. Person view, I suspect USD will have one more push up for today's USD report. GP report will push DXY for a bit. GP report push DXY for a bit, but not much. Yeah, possibly. Possibly. I mean, I'm pretty bullish on USD now. I do think USD will continue. Might see a deeper correction for beforehand, but I do think USD will continue pushing. But yeah, I completely ignored that, to be honest. I was just looking at the interest rates. I completely forgot to check the rest of the day. And we've got GDP for USD as well at 132. So yeah, that could be a bit of a mover as well. And then we've got JPY inflation at 11:30. Missed that too, actually. But yeah, I've closed my yen trade, so it doesn't really concern me anymore. Okay, so where was I? Let me running 6R. Yeah, that's the yen for you. Catch a nice move. It could be running 20. That same trade could be running like 25R if you kind of let it and just like come back in 25 days time. I wouldn't be surprised if it's running at like 25R. Because I know you refine your risk on the low time frames as well, so it could be a big runner. Dark Sean, I missed your question. GJ and today's short opportunity. Okay. Oh yes, you did mention that. Okay, I'll take a look at that for you. Um, yeah, I'll go over that and I'll go through my pound Swiss trade. And yeah, anyone else has any recommendations or any charts they're looking at, just drop it down in the chat and I will go through it. What's up, Ninad? Welcome to the stream. What is happening with JPY? Madness is happening. It looks like JPY weakness is here to stay, and we might be seeing the yen pairs absolutely fly for the next few weeks, potentially, of how everything's looking. Of course, things can change, but for now, I'm not so much bearish anymore. In fact, I'm kind of just not bearish at all on the yen pairs, and there's quite a few which I'm actually pretty bullish on. So, yeah, things have changed a lot with the yen. But let me go take a look at that pound yen intraday opportunity you mentioned and see what you're looking at. Okay, so you're looking at a short opportunity on intraday, looking for 100 pips. Correction of this 400 pip plus move. Okay, so you're looking to take some shorts against this run here. Not my type of position. Um, Yeah, not my type of trade. I mean, we're expecting a retracement, so yes, you probably do expect to see some downside. Looks like we're already seeing some evidence of that happening at the moment. So yeah, we might see a push to the downside there for pound yen, but at the same time, I'd rather be looking to flow momentum and all that momentum to the upside. I think is likely here to stay. So if price does push down, I'd rather be trying to find some buys rather than trying to catch the pullback. Because for the yen, especially, sometimes we don't see those pullbacks and price can just keep pushing as well. So we haven't necessarily come into any particular area which I would say I would like to sell from. Maybe if we're trading at the high over here, I'll be a bit more optimistic with the downside. I mean, yeah, I would definitely be a bit more optimistic with the downside, but because we're not quite there yet, we're still trading underneath it. I wouldn't be too surprised if pound yen keeps pushing till we get there. Then maybe we might have the bigger correction before maybe continuing. So I would be more focused on the shorts up there, really. So yeah, with pound yen, I do expect retracement at some point, but because at least from my analysis anyway, we haven't come into any significant area where I would expect the retracement from. It's just the fact that okay, the market's overextended. I expect retracement. That's kind of the only reason why I would favor downside. And I need a bit more than that if I'm gonna get into a trade. Of course, I'm sure you got your reasons and what looks good for you. But yeah, pound yen, really strong move. I do think it's likely going to continue. If it does work its way down, could be some nice buys to follow that back up. But because we're not in any area of significance, according to my analysis, I wouldn't be looking to short it. So yeah, that's my verdict on that. Good morning, Keris. Welcome to the stream. What is up, Elder? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. Or good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Okay, so I'll go through my pound CHF trade, which I have open at the moment. So yeah, pound CHF, I've got this one running. Hasn't really done too much. It's funny because we had some big news events yesterday, so I thought pound CHF would do its thing. But all we got was kind of just back and forth, back and forth. So a little bit boring, to be honest, but it is pound CHF. It normally does that anyway. But yeah, the reason why I got into the trade is because we were right at the top of a range. And it's a situation where I do think a major lower high can form for pound CHF and give us a big swing, potentially to the lows there. Again, I'm looking to try and stretch my trades a little bit more and take trades where they can actually fly. Of course, whether I'm in the trade for the whole run is a different question. I could potentially close out early, get trailed out, you know, etc. But the plan is for this trade is to see if we can get at least back to low the range, lock in some gains, and then leave some positions to run potentially to the low. Because I'm looking at these major highs here, 1, 2, and I'm looking at potentially a third one. You've got the confluence of the trend line, 1, 2, and 3. And of course, we're right at the top of a range, and we had a big fake out of the range as well. So I really like the short because we had that big fake out. You can see this is the resistance here. Big candle to the upside, strong close, and then we had a strong push back down again. That's a key sign to tell me that, okay, we're still struggling to break resistance, at least for now anyway. So I do expect us to react and see some downside. So pretty bearish from pound CHF, and as long as we stay below those areas of confluence on the 4-hour daily chart, I will hold on to this position. So let's not break through this level. If we do, of course, my stop is just above the high. But yeah, the plan is to see if I can get it back down to the low of the range and then hold on to some positions back down to that low. That's kind of the best case possible, but we'll see what happens. Maybe the best case possible does happen. Of course, worst case possible, we take a loss at the high. But yeah, that's kind of my plan with pound CHF. I'm pretty bearish on the CHF pairs. New Zealand CHF was actually a bonus pair, which I talked about in my weekly analysis this week. So it's a pair on my watch list, which I was looking to short, but we had such a big move out of nowhere, really, on Tuesday that continued into Wednesday. So I didn't really get the opportunity to short New Zealand CHF. I said I was looking for a slightly bigger pullback back into this area, trying to catch that next lower high, 1, 2, looking for the third one in that area. Had some nice daily confluence. We've got a really big level here on the left, which price broke through finally. So if I drag that across, we can see, lines up very well with that area of confluence. So I was looking for the lower high at that area this week for the shorts and then expecting us to push back into the lows. I wouldn't be surprised if we go and take out the all-time lows, really, which is this low here. If price is just going to keep trending down, that could very much be the case. But yeah, I was looking for New Zealand CHF shorts. Didn't get it, unfortunately. Got pound CHF. So we'll see what that has in store for me. But yeah, we do have Bank of England in about 45 minutes from now. So let's see what that has in store for me as well. But it fits the plan. It tick my boxes. Risk reward looks phenomenal if it does play out for the long run. So it's an opportunity which I would always look to take. And yeah, I just got to manage it and see what happens from there. Okay, good. Karish, you're bullish on CAD CHF. Okay, we'll have a look at pound CHF, CAD CHF for you. If I have missed out a pair, someone has asked for, just drop it down in the chat again and I'll take a look. But I'll go through CAD CHF, Tom, pound NZD looking nice for buys on that 61 fib. Okay, we'll have a look at that as well. Dark Sean, reason for this. Which pair is that? Oh, okay, the pound yen opportunity you're talking about. Current price indicator just printed a massive liquidity zone. Yeah, like I said, according to my analysis, there's not really much there going for me. But maybe for you, based on your style and how you trade, there could be something that looks really good there for a short. I think pound yen is due a retracement anyway, so I do like the idea of capitalizing on retracement, but I would wait for it to push a little bit higher to the top of the range. We'll go back to pound yen quickly. So I would wait for it to push a little bit higher back to 199.7, and then I would potentially look for some sells. But yeah, if it looks good to you, fits your rules, then of course, look to take them. I think it makes sense because the market is definitely a bit stretched now. So some downside looks likely. And you said you're not looking for anything crazy. I mean, 100 pips does sound a bit big, but for pound yen, that's actually not pretty big. If I measure 100 pips from current price, you're looking at about push back to here. So it's very reasonable, 100 pips. Of course, if it was 100 pips on Euro USD, that's a different situation. But more or less, you're kind of looking for a push, back into this area. So it's a logical move. Not expecting too much from the market, not looking for too much. So I can definitely get behind that. But of course, based on the way I look at the market, I would wait for price to push a little bit higher up. But like I said, if your boxes are ticked, you only got one thing to do there: take the trade. Okay, so I'll go through pound NZD and CAD chef first. CAD Swiss. So you said you're bullish on that one, Karis. Uh, yeah, I'm not a big fan of CAD chef, to be honest. I'm not necessarily even bearish on CAD chef. I'm just not looking to trade it, really. It's in the middle of a range, which is again not a good place for me. It's the one place of the market which I'll absolutely avoid trading at all costs. I don't mind placing trades in ranges as long as I'm at the high or the low, similar to pound CHF, knowing that, okay, if I do catch the breakout, it could be onto a really big winner. So I wouldn't mind trading that. But what I would do is always avoid trading in the middle because from my experience, it hasn't been the most rewarding situations for me. And again, if you look at it, it makes sense that the market's going to be a bit more tricky to trade. Not that you can't get good trades; it's just a lot more difficult. And you know, trading is really difficult anyway, so no need to make it harder. But yeah, I'm not really seeing the buys. I mean, unless you're looking for price to push back into the low of the range, and of course, this is the best place to buy. We actually talked about some buys last week when we were here, and we had a nice reaction there. Looks like price might be coming back down again. Again, if we see some nice healthy rejections here, could be another bounce again, maybe tomorrow or early next week. We could see another bounce. So I think the buys do make sense if you're looking for buys around the 0.61999 area. If you're looking for buys at current price, I'm not too sure. I'm a big fan of that. Doesn't mean we can't see some upside, but I'm not really seeing much evidence or much reason for it. So therefore, I wouldn't be such a big fan of that. But if you were to keep falling to the downside, then yeah, back at the low of the range, you're only gonna get two things: either the breakout or another rejection. So we monitor price, see how we're looking, and if price is looking like it's going to reject, buys would look good there, of course. So if you're bullish from that, I agree. But yeah, overall, it is a bearish market, so kind of naturally have a bearish bias, but it hasn't really had a big pullback. Like pound CHF's had a nice pullback, so that's why I like the downside. This one's had like a bit of a move, but it's just been sideways, so that's why I'm just not really a big fan of the pair right now. Okay, for a swing trade. Okay, yeah, I mean, for a swing trade, again, could catch a nice bounce off that low. And again, if the market is going to retrace, it's a real possibility because we've spoken about this channel a few times. Nice bearish channel that price is working in. We probably are due a big pullback like this at some point for CAD CHF. Again, in terms of finding some entries, I would wait for the low of the range, which, again, if you're looking for a swing trade, you're probably looking to do that anyway, because the only kind of logical place I would say a stop loss would be for the buyers is underneath that low. And then, the goal is to try and get your entry as close to your stop loss as possible to minimize your risk and maximize your reward. But yeah, swing trade definitely a possibility if you can have the bigger pullback, but I would wait for a slightly deeper push before looking for any buys. But I can see what you mean about the bigger pullback. Okay, so I'll go through pound NZD next for you. Okay. Okay, so same way you do with euro. So yeah, if you got like a plan for trading those type of moves, a big move up, price a bit overextended, you're expecting a correction. If you've got a plan around that, then I can definitely see the logic behind that. Um, yeah, so if that's the case, then go for it. I use the strategy. Okay, yeah, you use the strategy only on big moves because it works really good. Yeah, I mean, again, that's the edge of it. The edge is that the market is overextended, and you're looking for it to contract. So you look for those situations where the market's had a really big move, and you look for it to kind of to turn around. So yeah, I can understand that 100%. Um, Mark, I saw Yenpes crossing reversing last week, but hesitated yesterday evening on entries. That's the summary of my year, basically hesitation. Yeah, it's a difficult situation because, of course, you saw the situation, but you didn't take the trade. I think it's, I mean, because I've definitely experienced that before as well. For me, anyway, it comes down to more of fear of taking a loss or fear of being wrong, because that's the only reason why you would have hesitation, unless you're going to be betting the whole account on a trade, which I don't think you are. You're probably just going to be taking a trade with minimal risk, respecting your risk management. But the fear just comes back down to taking a loss. And if the fear of taking a loss is greater than potentially taking a winner, it will stop you taking trades. You'll be more hesitant with trades, and you'll let trades go by. Yeah, in terms of working on it, it's kind of working of losing that fear potentially, which is kind of keeping you from hesitating taking trades. Because even if you take a loss, a loss is a part of the game. It's just making sure the loss is measured, managed, um, and if you go take a look at like a profitability calculator and crunch some numbers, you can see that even if you had like a 60% win rate, 1 to 2 risk reward, you can still take 10 losses in a row mathematically and still have that edge. So the key thing is not to be fearful of the loss. Kind of embrace it if it does happen. When it will happen, of course it will. But yeah, if you lose the fear of losing, you will start taking trades more. Yeah, that's my biggest tip. So try and really digest the factor of losing. Try and really understand it and become okay with it. Because when that happens, you'll take trades, with ease. Of course, easier said than done. Easier said than done, but that's the best way to solve that situation. Let me go to pound NZD for Tom before I forget. Okay, pound NZD, where are you? Where's your message? Okay, pound NZD looking nice with some buys on that 61 fib. Okay. So yeah, pound NZD looking very bullish. Where is pound NZD? We've broken through the highs here, but where are we trading on the high time frames? Okay. Let me actually scoot to the quarterly. Okay, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we're going to actually push back to this area. 2.35. There could actually be a lot of upside actually for pound NZD, to be honest. Anyway, let's go back to the more respectable time frames here, daily charts. So yeah, looking very bullish, a lot of momentum. Doesn't look like price is about to reverse anytime soon right now. So pullbacks look very, very good. If I whip out the fib from the low to the high, we've got the 50, 0.618 in that area. Oh, nice little lineup with the retest of that high there, 2.065, 2.06, I would call it. Looks really good for some longs. And yeah, you said 2.0, 2.206. I definitely agree. It looks very, very good for some longs. If price will be kind enough to pull back there, catch the next high low, just like we did on the two previous occasions, one over there, second, really nice pullback. So yeah, pound NZD to me on the higher time frames look like it's got the all clear to continue. Momentum looks very strong still. Higher time frames look good. And it looks like the trend is still healthy, which is the key thing. Because once we take out major highs, like we did with pound NZD and pound Aussie, we took out a major high on the left here. I'm pretty sure this was the COVID high from 2020. Yes, it was. And we took out some major highs again not long ago. When we take up these major highs, there's always a possibility that the market might go through a bit of a larger correction because there'll be a lot of liquidity above them. So once price goes and takes that out, sometimes we do see moves in the opposite direction. But in this case, we just kind of steamroll to the upside and still being persistent with that momentum. So I do think we'll probably continue pushing. And yeah, pullbacks and upside looks pretty likely. So I definitely agree with that one. Um, okay, so yeah, pound NZD, I do agree with that one. Just trying to see where I was. That's a good point. That's a good point, Tom. Point of identity setup and not taking it. So you made your, but okay, that's a different situation then, Marcus. If you didn't take the trade because of the interest rates, that's different. If you decided not to take a trade because interest rates are coming out, then that's a decision based on risk. Because whether the trader failed or succeeded is irrelevant. Because if you decide not to take the trade because interest rates coming out, unnecessary risk involved, could get slipped very badly. Yeah, that's a very logical reason not to take a trade because big events are coming out. Um, Whether it went in your direction or not is almost irrelevant. If you decided not to take the trade because you're just hesitant and you kind of just yeah, you're just hesitant and you had no other reason, then that's different. You know, that's a different issue. But if you just decided not to take it because of the news, that's perfectly fine. I'm sure a lot of people stayed out the market yesterday, and rightly so. There were some huge moves, and if you had some tight stop losses, could have definitely been slipped pretty badly if you're in the wrong direction. So yeah, don't be hard on yourself if that's the case. Ninad, okay, gold, sold gold at 2.621. I think there's a chance to go down. Okay, I'll take a look at gold for you. Should we put by next week? I expect to finish the year at these longs. Yeah, I agree as well, Marcus. Yeah, of course, Tom. Of course. I mean, back testing is it will definitely show you what your edge does over the long run. So yeah, that's 100% true. If you just kind of take the trades you did in back testing, you know, you will see similar results, not exactly the same because market conditions do change, but you will see similar results because the markets are still traded by the same people. So, you know, unless something crazy happens, you're going to see the same results. Um, but of course, in terms of risk, you know, people can opt out not to take trades because of risk, and that makes so much sense. Yeah, of course, maybe you miss out on some winners, but you'll miss out on some losers too. So it'll go hand in hand. It's just this case you missed out on a winner. But yeah, I mean, you're both right. There's no right or wrong really with trading, apart from managing the risk. That's the only really important thing you want to be right about. But if you decide to stay out the market because of risk, it makes sense. If you decide to take it still, but you manage your risk, it makes sense too. And that just comes down to the individual. But yeah, in terms of gold, I do think more downside is likely with gold. I do think we'll push down. I was looking to see how he closed in the daily chart. It was a very strong candle close yesterday. So I do think we'll probably continue pushing back down to 25.60, which is this big zone here. We've had a really aggressive double top. Market had none of that. I thought price was just going to break through and just continue and just be happy days, sunshine and rainbow situation, but that did not happen. Price completely rejected that high very aggressively. And now we've actually broken through that low. So this is kind of textbook double top situation, retest the high, break the neckline. So now I do think price is going to continue falling. So yeah, pretty bearish on gold actually. And now it looks like we're having a bit of a retest of this zone here as well. So there could be some shorts pretty much coming up very, very soon. I did say earlier we might see a retest of this area here first before selling off. So if we don't sell off now, we might have a one more push to the upside before the move. But as long as we don't see a strong close today's candle, so this doesn't become a big fake out, this big bearish candle close, then I do expect gold to keep rolling over. But yeah, it's looking like gold is finding some resistance at the moment at this 2620 area. So yeah, I think gold shorts do look good. You said you sold gold at 2621. Yeah, pretty much that price we're just speaking of. I think there's a chance to go down to 2584. 2584. Okay, it's more or less the low you're looking at. I would agree, very much so. Maybe I should have waited for the news to get. Yeah, again, you always find out in hindsight because you say maybe I should have waited for the news, but then maybe it drops, and then maybe you shouldn't have waited for the news. All you can do is take trades based on the quality of the setup. If the quality of the setup is good, it fits your plan well, then you take the position, manage your risk, of course. Worst case scenario, you take a loss. Um, as long as those questions you can answer positively to them, then it's never really a bad idea to take the position. If it does push up against you off the back of the news, then of course you can always look for re-entries. And the good thing about positive risk reward is if you do fail the first one, you succeed the next one, you do make back the loss plus some more. So the overall trade is still profitable. So yeah, I do agree with your bias there. Really strong moves to the downside, solid close on the daily chart. Most likely going to see more of that, and I do think we'll push back to the low here as well. So we'll see what happens there with gold, but I do have a very similar outlook to you. Had a video based on yen strength yesterday based on COT data. I mean, we get it wrong. I mean, I've been very bearish on the yen pairs too. In fact, I was selling CAD yen until this morning. Well, of course, I was selling it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I've been very bearish for the yen pairs, looking for a big move to the downside. But that's the funny thing about trading. You can get it right, you can get it wrong, and you will do that constant cycle for the entirety of your trading career. But at the end of the day, it's how you're managing your risk and how you're managing your winners. Is the sum of your profits more than the sum of your losses? And that's the most important question, really. But yeah, you'll get trade ideas wrong, you'll get moves wrong. I've been very bearish in the yen pairs, but I'm definitely switching my bias around today. I can say that for sure. Yeah, wow, 340 days, that'll be a long one. Small position for my account. Okay, yeah, not too bad. I think it looks like a great trade. Um, but yeah, I do think gold has more downside anyway. All right, take care, more. Have a good one, my man. We'll catch you tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful day as well. Appreciate it, my man. Take care. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. I have forgotten to mention that a couple of times already. But guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. All of that is much appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, that's kind of my verdict with USD yen. It's kind of been our main focus this stream anyway. I haven't really talked much about the crosses. I'll go through some of them because we've seen some big moves across the board. It's not just USD and yen. Of course, those are the main talking points, but we've seen some big moves across the board, really. Holy one, just close CAD CHF sales, waiting for later. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll go through some other CHF pairs as well. Let me just go through some of the crosses. So we spoke briefly about pound Aussie and pound NZD, both looking very bullish, probably going to continue. I do think a bit of a pullback is necessary for both of them. They've got some really nice fib retracements at play. Pound Aussie, maybe not as good as pound NZD, but I do like the opportunity for some pullbacks here. Test 0.5, more upside. If I look at pound NZD as well, very, very lovely move. A lot of momentum there to the upside. And it has left behind some nice opportunities for some pullbacks here too, for some nice buys, continuations, and more upside there as well. So it looks like these guys are going to see some momentum and it's going to stay for a while. If I take a look at Euro NZD and Euro Aussie, these ones have been not as bullish because I think pound's been a bit stronger than Euro, but still a lot of upside. And I believe we're trading at a really big level now for Euro NZD. Yeah, very, very big level here. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. It's make or break because we can definitely turn around from here and we can definitely break out. And if that's the case, we've got the wick high here to aim for. So it depends what the next move is for UNZD. At the moment, struggling. Maybe we do go for a bit of a pullback and react to this area. Maybe we do have a pretty big move to the downside as well. I think if you're looking to short, it's actually not a bad place for a short. Yes, maybe going against momentum a little bit, but it's been such a strong area. And if you're looking for some counter trend opportunities, mean reversion, not a bad place to take some shorts. We've had some really nice rejections in the past. If you do break through, then yeah, we're probably going to just head back to that wick. So in that case, pullbacks makes the most sense back to the high. And if we take a look at Euro Aussie, we do have a similar situation. Actually, no, I think we broke through the resistance, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So we broke through the resistance there and had a really nice candle close there yesterday. So at that point, probably going to get pushed back to the high now for Euro Aussie. I would say this is probably the cleaner pair to trade because we've got a pretty long way to go if we're going to push to the high. Price looks like it's kind of triple bottomed out at this low here. And now we're seeing a bit of a reversal on our hands. So yeah, expecting a lot more upside now for Euro Aussie. Makes perfect sense because pound Aussie and pound NZD looks like they're set to continue as well. So if we do see some pullbacks and some buy opportunities here, we're probably going to keep pushing. And that could be a nice little trade there, actually. Maybe on the intraday time frames, retest the high there. Could be a nice little trade. But in my book, I would favor more upside, possibly all the way back to 1.7. There is a bit of resistance at 1.685 I'd watch out for as we come to that start of that massive wick around 1.685. So I'd watch out for that. But now that we've broken out of this kind of slight bearish channel here, ever so slight, if I bring that down there, we've broken out that channel, we're probably going to see more upside here. So yeah, Euro Aussie, more upside, Euro NZD, potentially more upside if we break the high, but Aussie and pound NZD looks like they're going to potentially keep pushing it as well. So I can't, very, very bullish stuff. If I have a look at Euro Pound whilst we're at it, like I said, I think Pound has been stronger than Euro, so this is probably looking bearish. Yeah, more or less looking bearish. Maybe a bit of upside this morning, but yeah, we've been on a slight downtrend, and now we've hit the low. So again, with Euro Pound, it's in an area where big buy could be on the cards. If I scoot to the monthly chart, you can see where we're trading major support. We could be seeing a breakout of this. I'd wait for the monthly candle to close before confirming that. If this is a breakout, we'll see on December 31st that candle closing below, and then I'll retake a look at the chart, reanalyze. But for now, I'm always going to be expecting price to push up. But equally so, I'll still wait for a good opportunity to buy. At the moment, we're still being very consistent with all these lower highs, so it's difficult to get a good buy. I did say earlier there could be some nice buys in this zone, but we didn't really get much sign of it holding. And price actually had a nice break and retest of that. So if we can get a big double bottom, break some structure, form some higher lows, there could be some nice buys in the next maybe few weeks. But until we get something like that, I would just kind of hold off. If anything, shorts still look relatively good, actually. Let's say if we break the low again, this could end up being a nice place for a short, keeping in tune with the market with all of these lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 as well. Might see another leg lower. The only thing is, because we are trading such a big support, I wouldn't be so optimistic with the shorts, because at any point in time, you could have a very aggressive reaction to the upside. Euro Pound does that a lot, I've noticed. It will have like a very choppy descend and suddenly, boom, really strong push up. Like here as well, it has this kind of weird characteristics, so I'd watch out for that. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the crosses. Varus, how many trades do you take per week in general? Between 1 and 2 trades. I do have situations where it goes up a lot. I do take a lot of trades within a week, and then situations where I don't even take a trade in a week. But average across a long period of time, I'll say between 1 and 2. Appreciate it though. Tom, okay, take care, my man. We'll catch you on the next one. You're probably trading on technicals from 2 weeks ago. That time you were right. He has latest COT data showing increase. Nong's video either interpretation data is wrong or possibly. I mean, I don't trade with the COT data, so I'm not the best person to ask on that because I don't even use it myself, to be honest. But I know a few traders that do use it. But again, if it was right all the time, then everyone who used it would be completely raking it in because if the COT data was very, very trustworthy and all you have to do is just follow what COT data was saying, then it would be a bit of a cheat code, wouldn't it? So again, the situation with any kind of tool you use in trading, it's always going to give you a slight edge, COT data included. It's not the crystal ball. So you can use COT data to get a slight edge in the market, but you probably have to use it with other things as well. So I wouldn't say the COT data is wrong because there'll be times where Nick will use the COT data and then get the trade right. So in that case, it's right. So it's like with technicals as well. Technicals, you take a trade, it can fail as well. Doesn't necessarily mean technicals are wrong. It just means on that trade individually, it didn't play out. So I just view the COT data as another way to analyze the market. It's not going to change your trading game completely. It's going to be a lot more needed than just that. But it's not something that I look at myself. So, yeah. It's been a long time since I've looked at the COT data. So I can't really even talk too much on it, to be fair, about how good it is. But I wouldn't expect it to work all the time because if it did, everyone would be using it. No problem, Varus. Happy to help. Yeah, I agree, Holy One. Holy One's it's a small guide. That's a good way to sum it up. It's not always going to be reliable. Same with technical analysis. It's not always going to be reliable either. But it gives you that edge, which you keep at it, can give you profits over the long run. You're not going to win every trade you take with your technicals either. But yeah, it will give you that small kind of guide of what is happening. And then it's up to you to kind of use that and take that information. But yeah, it's not going to always be reliable. Okay, so let me go through some of the CHF pairs. So we've had a look at New Zealand CHF. We've discussed pound CHF. We've talked about CAD CHF. Euro CHF. I think this guy had a bit of a move to the downside, didn't it? Yeah. Oh, it's still looking pretty bearish. Had a strong reaction. See, that's the thing. I sold pound CHF at near enough the same time as Euro CHF. Euros had a lovely move down, but pound's just been moving sideways. That's just simply down to pound being stronger. I do expect pound to catch up, but it's been a tough one. Anyway, Euro CHF looking very bearish, and of course, looking at the higher time frames, everything's still pointing down with Euro CHF. We keep pinching these lows here. We take out this low, and then we take out this low here as well. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Euro CHF is on its way to go and take out this low here too. We've been very consistent with the lower highs as well, as we can all see. In fact, we can probably start it up here. Lower high, well, first high over there, lower high there, second lower high there too, third there as well, fourth. It looks like we just printed the, well, did I just miscount that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Couldn't count there for a second. Probably going to see number 6 there as well and a push back down. So yeah, Euro CHF to me looks likely for more downside. Overall, I'm pretty bearish on the CHF pairs. Of course, I'm only actively looking to short 2 of them, New Zealand CHF, but that's kind of gone already. So I'm not really interested in New Zealand CHF unless we have a big pullback. Pound CHF, I'm already trading. But yeah, Euro CHF at this point, I think maybe if you're on the lower charts, might see some nice corrections maybe. I mean, that was probably a decent correction this morning, retesting that kind of neckline, bit of a head and shoulder pattern here, left, head, right. Nice little retest there. It looks like we're on our way. So maybe we come back and have another retest of this area for another short. And then we maybe see some downside off the back of that. But yeah, Euro CHF looking pretty bearish now. It looks like we're about to keep falling. I wouldn't be surprised if we go and take out that low. I think maybe if you haven't got an entry, maybe the boat has sailed off a little bit. But there might be a pullback, maybe a double top, maybe. So keep an eye out for that. But in terms of direction, like to keep moving. Aussie CHF is an interesting one because I'm pretty sure, are we breaking through the daily low? Maybe not quite. Let me just drag this across. Yeah, I don't think we quite did that, did we? Or maybe, no, we did. We did. Maybe not the most convincing one, but we did just about kind of close below that. So it's a sign that we're breaking through. I wouldn't take it as we have broken out. I needed a lot more convincing close than that to signify that. So maybe if today's candle could see another nice bearish close, I'll be like, okay, we're bearish. I'm expecting us to come back to that wick low and continue. But yeah, if we do see a break of this level, I think the floodgates will open for Aussie CHF and price is going to have a really big move down. So at that point, we're just looking for our pullbacks, lower highs, and just looking to flow with the market because we've been in a big range for quite a while. These are kind of our highs of the range. These are our lows, more or less. This is a bit of a fake out to a degree, but overall, the market has just been consolidating between these price points and then a continuation there again. Now that looks like we're about to break through support. Where's the next obvious level for price to get to? Right down here. And the fact is, the market is so bearish on higher time frames. We keep taking out lows. There's a good chance we're going to see new lows as well. So that's why I'm very bearish on Aussie CHF, and a breakout of that support level, which looks likely, will make me start to actively look for some sells, some pullbacks, and look to ride it into the low. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Aussie CHF and the CHF pairs. Cease integrated, I see all information as bits and pieces as clue. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Cease integrated, that's a good way to look at it. No one thing is actually going to just revolutionize your trading. Support resistance is not going to do that. Candlestick patterns are not going to do that. Market structure or COT data or even fundamental analysis to a degree. You need to learn how to enter and manage trades, and that all comes down with your technicals. So everything is just a bit of a clue. So I really like that analogy. Yeah, possibly it might be a bit of a late indicator, Marcus. That could be the case. But I think the thing is when when you're using later indicators, which is kind of like lagging indicators, like moving averages, you can still use moving averages very, very well, even though they're lagging. But you want to combine it with something that's not lagging, something leading, like price action, like chart analysis of candlesticks, market structure, and other things as well. But lagging indicators, although again by themselves not particularly great, but using with other things can create a nice system. But yeah, possibly you could be very much correct on that one. But yeah, it's a definitely good point. In fact, I will be live again with Nick later today. That just reminds me. So if you guys are free around 1:45 UK time, which is about 2 hours from now, join that stream on his channel. We'll discuss the news and what's going on. Maybe we'll discuss his COT data. Probably not. But yeah, I'll be on his channel. So check it out. But yeah, we do have the Bank of England in about 7 minutes. So definitely want to keep an eye on that. Actually, as I said, I actually am in a pound pair, so it's going to be interesting to see what that happens. We'll see what happens live on stream, I guess, which is always fun. Looking bearish now, seeing some nice momentum, so we'll see if that can continue. The news can definitely change directions there very aggressively. So although it looks bearish now, that might not be the case in a few minutes' time. But again, very technical trader. The technicals told me that this is a place where I need to be looking to sell. I got my entry, so I'm in the trade. We'll see what happens with that. I guess I will have pound USD as well, since that's another big play, and I think a lot of people will be looking at pound USD. So let me add pound USD here. Is anyone trading pound at the moment? What time frame should I have it on? 15 minute? Is that too low? Nah, I think it's about right. And I have this on the 4 hour. No need to try and stress myself looking at each tick. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a combination of everything. You just need to learn how to use them. But there's one thing I've learned in trading is that there's literally more. There's so many ways to trade. I've seen professional traders trade with a wide range of different things. So I don't think there's a particularly one way to trade or an incorrect way to trade. Sure, there might be better ways, but I think for a retail trader, the only way you should be focusing really is just the way that is profitable. Whether you find a better way in the future, you can always test it out and see how things come. But just find a way to be profitable. That's the most important thing. Whether it's the best way, the most optimal way, that shouldn't really be your concern until later on, until you're a bit more established. Then you can look at, okay, am I being optimal here? Then I can address those issues. But um, top priorities is just profitability, really. And however you get that doesn't really matter, really. Then you can focus about optimizing later on. Um, all trades close off lagging into okay. Using MA volume, which gave me more confidence on entries. Nice. Yeah, that's a nice combination. Buy trade on GU. Okay, nice. Karis, did you enter recently or was that from yesterday? Just CHF gone to new low red line. Okay, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it broke the support you mentioned yesterday. Never mind, just clear for a small profit. Fair enough. I mean, we're seeing price push down, but I don't know. I don't know because I've seen price push down before the news and then change direction when the news comes out. Really, we'll see what happens. It's in about 3 or 4 minutes from now. Um, I mean, rates are expected to stay the same. I think if it was to increase or decrease, that's when we're going to see a pretty big move. If it comes out the same, I mean, I say that the yen came out the same, and that was absolutely flying. But I don't think pound doesn't normally do crazy moves like that. Maybe once in a while it will have a crazy move, but most of the time it's pretty manageable. The yen pairs, that's a different animal, and USD as well. But yeah, pound doesn't really scare me that much. I remember the last Bank of England interest rate we did on stream barely moved really. Like I'm pretty sure we're looking at like the 50-minute time frame, barely did anything. I say that now and maybe it has the biggest move of all time, but yeah, on average, Bank of England doesn't really cause huge moves. Yeah, even EMAs are lagging as well, Marcus. Even EMAs, exponential, of course, just means it gives more weighting to the more recent, um, data points when it calculates the average of price. But moving averages are lagging indicators as well. In terms of trend, they're not necessarily lagging in terms of the input because when price moves, it takes in the input, calculates the average of price, so it's not lagging in that regard. But in terms of trend, it takes price will change the trend before the moving average will confirm that. So that's why moving averages are considered lagging. Um, Normally, the trend will change first, and then the moving averages will confirm it. But I use moving averages as well. They can be very useful. Again, with other things, but very useful. Okay. Yeah, no need to sacrifice those profits then, Karis. I've had a nice day yesterday, especially with more news. I guess no need to try and ruin the parade. Oh, Christmas is yen longs. Yeah, it does look like yen's going to keep pushing. I'm pretty bullish on a lot of them, uh, especially dollar yen after taking out that high. I think now due a pullback and price is going to continue higher. So yen longs, I can definitely agree with you there. Manual, yes, Bank of Japan at 12 noon, which is about 10 seconds from now. I've got the economic calendar on my screen there. Season I'll get my current set DXY to weight retracement. Small buy later based on my personal view. Bits and pieces DXY will stay strong for now. Oh, okay. Pound is dropping. Just as I said, I don't expect to see a big move for pound. We're seeing a pretty big move for pound. I mean, that is playing into my hands, so I don't mind that one bit. But that is a pretty big move. I'm not gonna lie. The last the last moves I've seen with Bank of Japan, Bank of England have not been this big, at least not this quickly. Sometimes they take some time to pick up some momentum. But yeah, it's seeing some downside. So yeah, hopefully this continues. Hopefully this continues. Not looking anything until 2025. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot of movement next week. I think this is the last big week, really. So now I've closed. Now I closed my yen trade. I'm just going to keep focusing pound CHF. Nothing else is resetting for me at the moment. But yeah, we'll see how that progresses. Rob, lethal swing entries again. Pound CHF moving correctly. It is for now. Let's not jinx it though. Rob. Let's keep our opinions to ourselves there. Don't want you to jinx it. But yeah, we are seeing some weakness. Let me see what the outcome was. Okay, yeah, it came out as expected. So yeah, it is a bearish reaction, looking good. Hopefully we can sustain this. But yeah, the idea is looking for that bigger swing. Pounds, of course, looking pretty bullish. I can put it back to one window now. Pound is looking pretty bearish as well. So yeah, hopefully we can continue. The goal of the trade really is to get it back to the low of the range, and I'll look to secure probably most of the profits there. But then I'll leave some to run to see if I can get it pushed to the low. So we'll see how that continues. But it had a nice confidence to it, so we're going to see if we can continue to sustain that. You go on the tug of war, damn it. And into the next one, Holy One. Until the next one. Yeah, bank rate, no change. Afternoon blessing. Okay, I'll quickly go through Euro yen and then I'll wrap things up. DXY just moved an eyebrow. Nothing much. Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to move too much on Bank of England. Okay, so let me quickly go for Euro yen. So yeah, Euro yen, very bullish on this one. In terms of my longer term buys, we haven't actually taken out any major highs yet. So I need price to go and take up this high first. And then I think we could be onto a push all the way back to the high. Dollar yen's done that. And I think dollar yen's going to go back to its respective high. For now, for Euro yen, because it does not look like we're going to get the retracement, because the whole idea was, okay, we had a lovely impulse here, correction, another impulse down. That hasn't happened at all. And we've had a big push up. We did speak about the buys yesterday around this area here. And yeah, really nice move after the news yesterday. So I think naturally we're probably going to see more of that, maybe a bit of a retracement because it was a really big push. So the market's probably a little bit overextended right now. But I do think as we come back to this area or this area, logical places for some buyers to come back into the market. And I think there's a pretty strong chance we see a push back to the high, 166.5. Definitely some of these areas here to look out for as well. But yeah, very bullish on Euro yen. High lows being very consistent, maybe due a bit of a pullback, but I do think we'll probably keep pushing up. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro yen, and my analysis for the rest of the yen pairs is very, very similar. But yeah, guys, that kind of brings us to the end of the stream. So if you guys have enjoyed it, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you find the stream useful, helpful. It does really help me out and helps the channel out as well. So I am grateful for everyone who has liked and subscribed. Of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any uploads in the future. Like I said, I will be live again with Trader Nick on his channel. So if you want to see more of me, we do have some news for USD coming out this afternoon. So I'm pretty sure we'll discuss what happens there. And of course, what's happened in the past 24 hours as well. So make sure you check out that stream if you're free. If not, I'm live again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So I hope to see you guys there. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. And I'll catch you all in the next one.